So welcome again to the Finance Magnates London Summit 2023. We're here with Alex Royle, Head of Compliance and Regulatory Affairs at Galaxy EMEA. Hi, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So your panel is called Regulation in the Post-FTX Era, something like that.
Yep.
Maybe now we should change it to the Post-BNC Era. My question is how do you see retail crypto trading impacted by yesterday's news of Binance CEO stepping down and all that?
I think the main driver is going to be sort of on the regulatory side. We've seen, a very clear, very well documented event that happened yesterday. It's not a surprise event; like it was fairly well telegraphed.
In the making,
there was something coming. I think it's positive for the industry that sort of risk event is now out in the open, and we have a much better understanding of where things lie. I think the clear point to be said here is, AML and counter-terrorist financing controls should be the assumption and not an aspiration. And I think that was very clear in what was what was said yesterday. But in terms of the outcome, I think it's probably going to be digested in a net positive manner.
You spent some time working with regulators or for regulators as well. Do you think regulators see a distinction between a crypto trader and any OTC or otherwise investing products traders?
I think that regulators look at trading through the lens of the rules that they have, and certain regulators apply the rules in the way in which they are, to meet their mandate. I think that in the UK, for example, there is a very well understood principles-based approach that regulators take here, and they take that principles-based approach at the activity level and at the product level. So I don't think there's too much of a delineation. I think where it comes to a lot of businesses in the space at the moment, they're trying to understand what the risk-based approach of regulators should be and where the risks truly are, and how new and novel technologies may re-underwrite some of those kind of risk heuristics that are built up.
Yes, so the retail side is fairly simple, at least more simple than the institutional one. So one of the panels here is about TradeFi and crypto, how to create either synergies or just learning lessons from the already existing market structure. Do you see anything that the nation's crypto market structure can adopt or other built better than the OTC one?
I think the delineation really between sort of OTC and trading is a bit of a struggle. Like OTC is trading, and if you're trading on an exchange, you're still fundamentally trading. You're just trading through a slightly different delivery mechanism. I think the question about can the crypto industry learn a lot from traditional finance? I think absolutely, and that's the general direction of travel we're seeing regulators and the co-legislators in Europe, for example, with MiCA, and the direction of travel we're seeing in the UK go down. The UK is proposing to bring crypto within the incumbent regime, and in Europe they're creating a new regime, albeit through the lens of existing legislation. So I think the general direction of travel is, let's not only consider crypto assets through the AML CTF lens, which historically we've been doing, and now we're going to start considering things like conduct and prudential regulation, and that's going to put a sort of a better understood framework around it, which will in turn encourage institutions into the space.
This might be a bit of a niche, but one of the insights that I heard here that even ESG compliance will be a big deal for crypto companies in the UK. My question is, how can you settle, let's say, the computing power which is required to produce cryptos basically, and environmental concerns?
I think the ESG and crypto debate is an interesting one. I think up until this point in time, a lot of it has been geared around assumption as opposed to sort of fact. There is
myself included.
And that's absolutely fine. This is a complex topic that actually needs a very good faith argument or conversation put around it in order to get to a good place. But you look at what's going on in Texas with the airport power markets and how Bitcoin mining has been integrated with that, and the benefits that can actually provide to the grid. and then you can start to actually recast the ESG debate around crypto in a slightly different light. If we go around and say, X amount of energy is used to underpin the security of the Bitcoin market, that's fine, but it's generally not set out in a relative context, and it's certainly not set out in all the, outline the second and tertiary order effects that mining can have on an energy.
And do you generally think that regulators have a nuanced understanding of all these complexities, both in ESG, but more broadly in how crypto works and the finer points, let's say, of the technology? Because one of the claims that I've been hearing that apart from the FCA, maybe not all regulators across Europe, for example, are equipped enough, are staffed enough to keep up with the tech development.
Yeah, perhaps that's the experience of some people. I would actually put it back on the industry and say, well, that's the role of the industry to work collaboratively with your regulator in order to get them there. It's no good saying, well, they just don't understand and not providing any kind of backup to that. I think, the approach most regulators take is it's incumbent on the firms to make sure that they mitigate their risks and they're ready, willing, and able to carry out, a regulated activity. There's a massive precursor to that, which is the industry working collaboratively with legislators and regulators in order to help them understand what ready, willing, and able really means in the crypto context, and also for regulators to help crypto firms understand what ready, willing, and able means through their lens. And I think we're starting to get there now. There's certainly a lot of the work going on in the UK, a lot of the work going on in Europe is incredibly positive and huge steps in
industry
direction.
Bodies or joint efforts?
I think it's a collaborative effort across the whole thing. Certainly there's a scale factor if you benefit from being sort of a larger firm with perhaps more direct touch points. You should absolutely lean on those and work collaboratively with regulators. And if not, that doesn't mean voices can't be heard, and the industry and trade bodies are a very, very valuable source of, to act as the interlocutor and work through some of those things.
And one of them will be moderating your panel soon, so I better send you off there.
Yeah.
Last question. I think it's your second time as a speaker at this conference. So what is your impression from the Finance Magnates London Summit? Have you been through interesting meeting, interesting people?
There's always interesting people. It's a great setup. We enjoy coming here. We always set up great meetings. So it's something that we kind of look forward to. It's a fixed item on my agenda every year.
Okay, that's good to know.
Speak to people here. I think it's certainly a kind of more of a traditional conference that has a digital asset element, which I think is also beneficial. It allows conversations to happen through a slightly different lens, and I think that's the appropriate lens now for the next iteration of debate to start happening through.
Great. So we're looking forward for the outcomes of these conversations. Thank you very much.